We have very few Luyas in the upper echelon of government. And ironically, the few that we have up there are a huge disappointment. For instance, Mudavadi. Instead of this guy wishing the country a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, he's busy daydreaming about a constitutional referendum. Just listen into this.
There is a beckoning reality that 2027 is a referendum moment. Allow me to state, without fear of contradiction, that there is an imperative need for a constitutional review 15 years after the promulgation of the 2010 Katiba. Our 2010 Constitution demands boundaries review every 8 to 12 years. Our deadline was March 6, 2024. We have passed it. We are now in a period of constitutional non-compliance. Here is the catch. You cannot have a boundary review without a valid national census.
Now in this video I want us to look into some of the reasons why Ruto through Musalia Mudavadi wants to force a referendum in 2027, and so with no further ado, let's get after it. Now these guys claim that the referendum in 2027 is all about cost, whereby instead of IBC spending 40 billion to do a referendum, then they proceed to spend another 40 billion to conduct a general election. It would be far much easier if the two are done concurrently. Now financially, that makes a lot of sense. Policy-wise, that is nonsense. We know the Kenya Kwanza goons have a tendency of stealing elections, and they want to steal the vote, all while concurrently cementing themselves in power through a referendum. That is an underhanded tactic that should not be tolerated anywhere in this republic, because here's what they're actually seeking to do. Number one, they want to carve out new constituencies in Pro-Ruto strongholds through an act called gerrymandering. And guess what? The IBC literally has the powers to restructure our internal borders. And from an interesting conversation that I had not too long ago, 50 new constituencies are going to be created in areas like Nandi, Uasin Gishu, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Wajir, and so on. So those are 50 new MPs that will allow Ruto to have a 2/3 supermajority no matter how the elections go in 2027. Let's call it what it is. This is an illegal power grab. And here's the tricky part about it. If they manage to squeeze this referendum into the ballot, they won't be getting those new constituencies and MPs immediately. Because after the referendum passes, it will take about a year thereabout to restructure the border and formally gazette them. Then some 3 months later, we will have by-elections, which will give us 50 Pro-Ruto MPs. Now get this, it's at this point that the National Assembly will bring forth a motion to extend the term limits of Kasongo, which means that he will serve out his 2 terms under the old 2010 constitution till 2032, and then he can immediately seek his 2 7-year terms under the new constitution, a combined total of 24 years, just like his fellow dictator Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And that's why I've been saying all along that Cherargei is not a fool. He's been used by Kasongo all this time to test the waters on matters term limits. And now the referendum is upon us. Number 2, the other known beneficiary of this referendum is Musalia Mudavadi himself. He'll finally get his illegal office of Prime Minister enshrined into the constitution, and they also want the opposition leader recognized by that same constitution, so that no matter which way the elections go, they are all eating, and Kenyans will be the ones on the menu. This, to me, is not pro-people, it is not pro-democracy, it is outright manipulation. We cannot allow somebody who is known to steal elections and taxes and all these other things ati aweke multibet, aweze kuiba kura na aweze kuiba referendum in one swing. That one means the other means the other. If that mistake happens, we combine the two and they steal the election, and in so doing also stealing the referendum. All manner of ideas that they want to fixate there will be enshrined in our law. Not even the High Court, not the Supreme Court will go against the will of the people. That is a sad place that will be. So the loser, whether it is Kasongo, whether it is Kalonzo, whether it's Mudavadi, will have the official office of the opposition leader with an entire building dedicated to them. Cheska na gari iko na bendera pale mbele. They get to address parliament. They have 10 to 20 staff allocated to them, not to mention security detail, travel allowances, retirement parks, and all these other things, which will be shouldered by me and you, the taxpayer. On top of that, 50 new MPs and constituencies. Who is to say they won't even add counties? From 47, we might end up with 56 counties. So long as it makes sense for them, politically speaking, when it comes to the vote in 2032 or 2027, they will carve out the counties. We talk of Mlima Kenya East and West. You think Roku and Kindiki and all these other guys won't want to subdivide the mountain by actually revisiting those boundaries? This is a nightmare. This is something we should not be discussing over Christmas. Personally, I wasn't even supposed to be back at work today, but because of this hula baloo that Mudavadi is doing, and we know this is not his thinking because ametumwa na Kasongo. That forced me to have to touch on this issue. And every Kenyan must be prepared for maandamano if this is what they're going to push down the road. But anywho, that's just my opinion, guys. Let's see what Kenyans the next have to say about this. And I quote, Google said, Musalia Mudavadi's open support for constitutional amendments appears to be driven by self-interest. It is clear that these changes are designed primarily to create two specific positions, a prime minister post for himself and an official office for the opposition leader. Babayao said, what is the purpose of the opposition if the government will still have it on a chokehold? Sisi kwanza tunataka nyinyi wote muende mbali tufikirie vile tunataka hii nchi ikae. David Gitonga said, so the amendment is about positions after all, not better service delivery, not to rethink finance bills and budget making, not to rethink the borrowing framework, not to introduce capital punishment for corruption, not to reduce elective positions and their salaries. Good point. It's all about them creating seats. Viti za wabunge, viti ya prime minister na opposition leader. It's just BBI ya Raila inaendelea. Tomboya said this is purely self-serving mutilation of the constitution that serves elites rather than the Kenyan people. If at all there must be a referendum, perhaps the most pertinent issues will be reducing the size of government and even the number of counties. Kibiriti Ngoma said, we don't need faces in government, we want systems that work. We don't want a bloated executive. I tend to agree with most of that commentary, but what say you guys? Do drop me your comments in the comment section below and I'll do my best to read them and to give you a response. So with that, here are today's ads of the day. If you're in need of office petitioning or home interior works, i.e. kitchen cabinets, modern media walls, wall decoration, wainscoting, wardrobes, tiles, bathrooms, window blinds, gypsum and so on, reach out to Suima's Interiors at 07170 443 or info@suimas.co.ke and they'll get all your needs sorted out. Whatever it may be, all interior works. These guys are the best at it.
Right now, I'm with my team headed to a client's house in Ruto for consultation. That is to take measurements of the windows, go through our catalog with the client, and then once they decide on the color and the fabric they want, we'll get busy sewing, and at long last, the curtains installation will be on us. So if you're looking for curtains, shears, curtain rods, curtain accessories, reach out to Phoenix Curtains and Interior Decor and we will sort you out. Call us on 0724 414153.
If you're here for the first time, please go on and hit the subscribe button, and if you're watching for a different platform, just head on over to YouTube, search for mzitowafula, hit the subscribe button. You're going to be getting a ton of content of this nature. If politics is something you're passionate about, this is definitely the one channel that you really need to subscribe to. Alright guys, adios. Thank you for choosing David Wafula as your primary news platform. We put countless hours in research, recording, and editing. By showing up each and every day to watch our videos, you encourage us to generate more videos for the viewers. We are on a mission to inform, educate, and build a better tomorrow. To our thousands of followers in a world full of presidents, kings, and queens, you are the real gem. Adios.